Hi everybody, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So today I'm going to do something a little different for my channel. It's something I've wanted to make a video about for a while, and I finally sat down and wrote down my notes and got it kind of together. Now I do have notes right here, several pages of them. So I'm going to be looking down at those, but just because I want to give the most accurate information as possible, so forgive me for, looking away from y'all. So, to begin, the torso of a teenage male was found in Lake City, Florida on June 5th, 1994. And this is really disturbing. The legs, head, and hands, I believe up to about here, were severed and not found on the scene. In a nearby dumpster, a blood-stained egg crate mattress pad, a bag with a red plaid shirt, and a couple of Ginsu knives with blood on them were found in the dumpster. And according to forensics, the dismemberment occurred post-mortem. And through my research, I couldn't find out what the cause of death was. Some people suspect it may have been strangulation, which was hard to tell because of the severed head. And also in my research, I have not found that they have found any of the dismembered body parts. And they believe that that was done by the killer. The dismemberment was done by the killer in an attempt to hide the identity of the victim. And it almost worked. It did work for a very long time. So the victim, the torso, didn't match anyone in the reported missing persons. So they really had no leads. And other than the evidence, which it was a very messy scene, but other than what they found there was really nothing else to go on. That light's about to fall over. I'll fix that in a minute. So the investigation really didn't go anywhere. So in 1995, I believe it was in January 1995, so about 7 months roundabout, after the torso was found, a girl called and said her brother was missing. And I don't know why it took this long for someone to report him missing, but it did. And through my research, I still have not figured out why it took so long to report him missing. But the missing boy's name was Fred Paul Laster. And the last person he was seen with was a youth pastor and friend of the family, Ronnie Hyde. And the family had met this man at their church. And a side note about the church they met at, it was referred to as the Strength of Living Church, and it was built with money invested that elderly investors put in and never saw a return on their investment. And it was actually, the church was, turns out, built by a scam artist named Ed Stolnick. And he was a scam artist who was incarcerated and then deceased. I'm not sure why he was incarcerated, but I'm sure it was scam related. But that's neither here nor there. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And finally in 2016, so let's see, over 20 years later, they can confirm that the remains were Fred Laster. So they were able to tell his sister that that was her brother that was found behind the gas station in 1994. And I know this was on the news. I don't know, like when it happened in 1994, I just don't understand why no one reported this. He was 16 years old at the time. So, in my mind, that's a baby. You're still a baby. So I know you can drive when you're 16, but you're a baby. So they arrested Ronnie Hyde in March of 2017 after they found DNA from the plaid shirt matched Hyde and or linked Hyde to the murder. And so they went in and raided his home. He has a home in Jacksonville Beach, less than a mile from where I live, and it was a scene for several days. They dug up the yard, they dug inside. From what I understand, this is completely disgusting, but the plumbing was broken, so he started using the tub to relieve himself, and it was filled with excrement. That is what I read in a couple news reports. I don't know how true that was, but that's what I read, and it's disgusting. And I also read that this wasn't his primary residence, but it was the one where he had youth spend the night there frequently. I also want to add that this man, Ronnie Hyde, he was a family counselor, and he was a marriage counselor for a couple I knew, and freaked them out because I guess they thought he was fantastic, but you know, whatever. That's not important. So in the victim's sister, the young lady that reported him missing, she said in 1993, her and a sibling, I'm not sure if it was Paul or a different sibling, or if it was more, they were spending the night at Hyde's house, and there apparently were other teenagers staying there as well. And at this time, Paul and his sister were twins, so she would have been 15. About 15, and she woke up in the middle of the night to him naked trying to wake up one of the boys that were staying there. Sorry, I have so many notes. Now, due to a complicated family situation, it made the Laster kids great targets for Hyde, really easy targets. And he, for several years, he positioned himself to work with children, which they believe was a way for him to get close to families with kids so he could, you know, get his groove on with them. And, and he's also facing 25 counts of child pornography or possession of child pornography. 23 DVDs of child pornography was found when they raided his house. He had paid, I don't know how they found that out, but he had paid over $700 for those 23 DVDs, and I could not find out what the other 2 counts of child pornography was from. But I mean, seriously, after 1 count, that's bad. That's bad. Now, since he's been arrested and charged and has been in jail, the house has been sold, torn down, and a new house has been built on the property. And, you know, that whole area, they're just probably trying to just move on from it because this is, you know, this is a nice little town. I mean, dark things happen here, but, you know, want to sweep it under the rug as soon as possible, right? So Hyde has pled not guilty, pleaded. He pleaded not guilty to all charges, including all the child pornography charges. His attorneys were able to get them to get the judge to throw out some statements that the state attorney wanted to put in as evidence against Mr. Hyde because it was about other boys he had abused, other kids. I don't know if they were all boys. The judge allowed that to be thrown out, but the lawyers, the defense attorneys also wanted all of the evidence that had been found to be, you know, inadmissible. And the judge wouldn't allow that, so it's all admissible. It has not yet gone to trial, but I will try to keep up with that and keep y'all up to date. And I will also, down below in the About section, I'll put some news articles for you to read I'll read a little bit to you, but so it says, this was in June 2019. So this has been going on for a while. And I know you're innocent until proven guilty, but he's guilty. And he's just trying to look so, I don't know if you can even see this through my laptop at all. Look at that. He's just trying to look so victimized, and it's just, he just makes my skin crawl. I've seen him out and about, like before he was arrested, and I remember thinking, oh, that guy's a creep, but whatever. But anyway, June 2019, a judge has denied a motion by defense attorneys to suppress physical evidence seized from the home and car of Ronnie Hyde, a man accused of killing and mutilating a 16-year-old Nassau County boy. The judge also denied a motion by the state attorney's office to tell the jury about other young men it claims were abused by Hyde. The judge ruled it would be prejudicial against Hyde. I think we need to be prejudicial against that creep, but whatever. There's enough evidence. There's plenty of evidence to put him away. Hyde, a former youth pastor, is charged with second-degree murder in the 1994 slaying of Fred Laster, whose dismembered remains were dumped behind a gas station off Interstate 10 in Lake City. Hyde, 63, who's been in custody at the Duval County Jail since his arrest 2 years ago, has pleaded not guilty to the murder charge and 25 additional counts of child pornography possession. Hyde's attorneys want to keep a jury from hearing statements their client gave at the time of his arrest, including exchanges their client had with the FBI midway through the March 7, 2017 interview while Hyde was waiting for a lawyer to show up. The motion contends his comments should be inadmissible because his request for counsel was not honored and the tactics utilized were designed to impair his freedom of will. Okay, well, yeah, I get that. You gotta, if they ask for an attorney, you gotta give it to them, but... And then there's just some dialogue in here between the investigators and Hyde. So I will link this down below so you can read it. And yeah, so that's it so far. A lot of crazy stuff. It's a horrible thing, I feel. I don't think that he actually has any family left because his parents had died before he did. And so grandparents are raising them. And also, it was my understanding that this Hyde guy was also his foster father. I'm not really sure how that worked out, but anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from me, and I hope you go and read those articles I linked below and look into it further. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to all of you later. Bye.